Games. THQ.
Hey there guys, Ephraim's Vanguard here, and welcome to this new Let's Play. Obviously we'll be playing SpongeBob SquarePants Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. This was the first SpongeBob game on consoles. There were a couple that were released on PC before, and I think a couple handheld ones. But like I said, this is the first console one. Like the console, most of the console ones that follows, is a 3D platformer. Most people would say it's kind of bad, and in retrospect I can probably agree with that. It's not exactly the greatest 3D platformer out there, but especially in comparison to its successors like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie and Battle for Bikini Bottom, those are surprisingly good 3D platformers, but this game is just not quite in that league. It was kind of made on a rush schedule by a failing studio, Big Sky Interactive. They were commissioned, not really commissioned, I guess hired by THQ to make this game. And like I said, they were kind of on their last legs financially. They were rushing to make this game come out. At least this is just word of mouth. And this game ultimately didn't save them. This was the last game they made. They shut down after this. And incidentally, THQ would later go on to bite the bullet as well. Oh, I should specify, Big Sky Interactive made the GameCube and PS2 versions of the game. There is a Game Boy Advance version that was made by another studio, and I also own that version. It's a 2D side-scrolling platformer, but I won't really be talking about it now. I might later if I want to, but now's not exactly the time. In the extras, there's some stuff over here, but we'll get to that, I guess, when I feel like it. Right now, we'll just start up a new game.
What a silly dream. Mr. Krabs had to close the Krusty Krab. Like that'd ever happen. I have the feeling today will be like no other day. Now, I wonder where Gary is. I should probably walk him before I go to work.
And so we get a goal at the bottom to leave for work. This game kind of it does give you an objective to do, so it's not like exactly like a collectathon 3D platformer. It'll generally let you know what to do and when to do it. Obviously, I'm playing on the GameCube. Like I said, this was only released on GameCube and PS2. No Xbox version for some reason. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I am playing the GameCube version, so if you hear my controller clacking again, that's why that's happening. Though, I do have a little bit different of a recording setup, so hopefully, it'll reduce, the clacking of the GameCube controller. Like, I'll see how much of that you can hear right there. Hopefully it'll reduce that sound, because I did realize during Get Ed and Eddie that it got kind of annoying. Also, hopefully it'll lessen the whirring sound of the GameCube, because that was also something I noticed in Ed, Ed and Eddie during silent sections, like when it was loading, my mic was still kind of picking it up. Hopefully that won't be the case. Also, I'm recording my voice in a slightly different manner, so hopefully it'll have a bit better audio quality. It'll sound a bit more like me. But we'll just go ahead and start with the game. go on out of SpongeBob's room, even though there's clearly an upstairs to his house in almost all the pictures of the show. Apparently his bedroom is just through that door, and we'll come over to Gary.
Good morning, Gary. Wait till I tell you about my crazy dream where the Krusty Krab was closed and... Meow. Oh, you don't say. You had a dream too? Meow, 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 meow. That something really bad is gonna happen? Uh-huh. Meow, 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 meow. Whoa, that really is bad. Well, I know just the thing to cheer you up. I'll go fetch your favorite fetching stick.
Okay, so it didn't tell us, but now we have a different goal. Well, no, our goal is still to leave for work, but to get through the door, we have to go find Gary's fetching stick. Because even though...
Don't worry, Gary. We can squeeze in a few rounds of fetch before work. If I can just find your favorite stick.
Because even though Gary's supposed to be clearly based off of a cat, he still likes playing fetch for some reason. As I was saying before, and I think I just skipped out on it, the controls are pretty basic for a 3D platformer. A button, jump, B button, attack. In SpongeBob's case, it's a karate chop. And then, I guess some not so typical ones for platformers. Well, there is no double jump in this. You do have a sort of glide, though, if you hold down the A button a second time while you're in there. So R will duck, and if you crouch down like that, if you press A while doing it, you'll do a high jump. As of right now... Oh, L is sneak, apparently. And you see that camera in the corner. That means right now we have no camera controls. So it's just like Mario 64. So that was some SpongeBob going to the bathroom. How many clips of that is there? Take a super fast shower. What? Excuse me, SpongeBob. Okay, so now it loops back. Alright, one thing you can tell by now is that whenever like a voiced audio clip comes on, for some reason it cuts out all the background music. Some of the ambient noises is still there because like when SpongeBob was talking to Gary, you could hear the bubbles going. But also when any voice track cuts off the music, the music will restart from the beginning. So I hope you enjoy hearing some of these songs over and over. Let's see what the TV does.
Never fear, Mermaid Man, for you are not alone in your fight against injustice.
Is that all you have to say, SpongeBob? Yeah. Sorry, I just did exactly what I was talking about, what I didn't like about this game. So in that way, the sound design is kind of repetitive like Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Though I don't remember it being as much of a problem as Ed, Edd, and Eddy's cases. Though we'll find out. Excuse me, don't close the door on me.
Do you think your little friend Gary would like to play some fetch?
Yeah, I guess.
Very well. Then move next to his fetching stick and press the action button to pick it up. Then you can carry the stick to Gary and delight him.
So as I was saying, I forgot, B isn't the attack button, it's the action button. Because all games have to specify that for some reason.
You didn't think I was gonna leave for work without a quick game of fetch, did you, Gary? Now come on, boy! Go long! Longer! Longer! What did you dig up outside, boy? There's something written on it. I think it says, Damger, Donut Opine, Orelsi. I wonder what that means. Well, maybe we should see what's inside. Oh, don't be such a soggy sport, Gary. What harm can there be in just a little peek? Just what I always wanted, a muddy little bottle. Just think of all the fun we can have cleaning it. Here we go.
Arr, who summons me from my endless slumber? I'll have your eyes for appetizers and your insides for dessert, for I am the Flying Dutchman.
Sorry about that. Just hop right back into your bottle and we'll bury you back out in the yard so you can...
Silence! I'll not return to that prison ever again. And what's this? You've gotten into my treasure, have you? Ooh, I hate it when someone messes with my doubloons. Now, what shall I do with ye lowly knaves who dared stir me up? Let me consult my rule book on ghostly doings. In the case of accidental discovery and wanton disruption of my booty, the perpetrators must serve for an eternity on my bloody crew. Well, I ain't never been out to sea with a talking cheese block before, but rules is rules, so I gotta take you with me. Are you ready?
Hold on there, Mr. Dutchman, sir. Technically speaking, it was not me who found you. Gary's the one who dug you up.
Ooh, that's a relief. This little varmint looks like he can do 10 times the work. If he can survive my hypnotic spell.
Oh, no, not Gary. That's not what I meant. Take me, not him.
Too late. My decision is made. Now I've got to check on the treasure stashed back on my ship to make sure no one's been spreading that around. But I'll return shortly to pick up my new crewmate. Say your farewells before I return.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll think of something, and it'll be the type of something that will save you. You can bet on it. Oh.
So obviously SpongeBob's just gotten Gary into a whole mess of trouble. So much so that Gary's going to head back into his room. Also, when we were opening up the Flying Dutchman's containers, these coins spread out everywhere. They're a collectible of some kind. I have no idea what they're used for, but they are a collectible. I don't know if it's like a I don't know if it's like Mario where if you collect 100 of them, you get something. My memory's kind of fuzzy. I should say, like Ed, Edd, and Eddy, I did play this game a lot when I was a kid, and I've 100%ed it as well. But I did that a whole lot more times than Ed, Edd, and Eddy, so hopefully it'll be fresher in my head. Even though I can recognize this as not the greatest designed game in the world, I do think it's fun. At least that's what I remember from the last times I played it. And even if it's just nostalgia getting in the way, so be it. We'll see if I really enjoy this game or not. As you could see back in that cutscene, one of the complaints levied against this game is that the animation and just the graphics in general is kind of weird and off and weak. Like, when the Flying Dutchman was talking, he was just making all sorts of random movements, and it just looked really odd. And in general, I think people say that, this game kind of... It doesn't look like...
Something in my backyard is blocking the door.
Just in general, one of the complaints that people have is that, the graphics isn't up to par. Like, they say this looks like an N64 game. Then again, what did you really expect about... Like, SpongeBob has never really been something that would be all that graphically intensive, so I don't know what they expected. But that is what some people think. It doesn't really matter that much to me. I can look past some of the graphical quirks. Then again, I can see what they're talking about, because those bubbles are clearly 2D sprites overlaid on a 3D plane, which is... That's exactly what Mario 64 did to cover up its inadequate graphics.
Who's afraid of the big bad Dutchman? Not us.
I heard that.
Now two things you can tell right away that people like about the game is that in general the sense of humor is very much like that of SpongeBob, classic SpongeBob at that, because that's all that existed at the time when this game was made. It was released in 2002. Well, 2002 in North America. It had to wait until early 2003 for Europe. But the point still stands. It was a game made early in SpongeBob's life cycle, and this was back when people, well, technically people still love it, but you know, the people who think their opinions are all important, that's back when they remember it. And I'm criticizing my own group there. grew up around SpongeBob, 100%. And another thing that people like about the game is that it has the same voice cast as the TV show. All of the voices of the sea characters are the exact same as the show, from SpongeBob to the Flying Dutchman to Gary. They even have Clarence Brown as Mr. Krabs, who obviously voices him on the show, which is notable because while all the other characters are usually voiced by their same counterparts in the games, half the time Mr. Krabs isn't voiced by Clancy Brown. Sorry, not Clarence. Clancy Brown in the games. Half the time he's voiced by Joe White, but that's not the case in this game. So the sea creatures are all original. But as you might have heard, the French narrator, he was kind of off. And that's for some reason, the narrator isn't voiced by Tom Kenny in this game. Even though they've got Tom Kenny voicing SpongeBob, it's still odd. And no one knows who the French narrator is. He isn't mentioned in the credits, and no one's claimed to be him. But for some reason, they had someone replace Tom Kenny, even though Tom Kenny's already in the game. But let's continue with actual gaming. Go outside to Bikini Bottom. And a loading screen. That is another complaint that people have about this game, that there's way too many loading screens. And I'll touch a bit more on that later, when I'm pretty sure it's not going to give us a cutscene. What do you know? No cutscene. So, as I mentioned, there's a lot of loading screens even when you think they wouldn't be necessary. And that's one of the problems people have with this game. And there's a problem that lots of people have with the PS2 version specifically. Yes, A can jump on things. With the PS2 version specifically. And it's that there's a glitch with the loading screen to where sometimes it'll basically just freeze up the game. And then you'll have...
I really need to reach that other ledge, but I don't think I have it in me.
Don't be discouraged. You can do it. Press jump, then you can glide a bit farther if you press jump again before you land.
So now we're getting into tutorial stuff. But as I've been...
Who would leave a letter tile sitting around like that? It's as if someone wanted me to find it.
That is no ordinary letter tile. It is a clue. Gather all the letters that spell your name, and you will have enough clues to find a hidden treasure.
So, that's our main goal, to find all the letters of SpongeBob's names. And here we have a to-do list. But as I've been trying to say... the PS2 version has a glitch on the loading screen that'll sometimes cause it to freeze. And people didn't like that, because if you resetted the game, then oftentimes your progress for the level would be gone. And on a few more occasions, your progress for the entire game would be gone. So not the most pleasant thing to have happen to you. But that's only an issue with the PS2 version specifically. Why it didn't happen on the GameCube, I don't know. But I'm glad that didn't happen, because I would have been pissed. But as you can see, here's a to-do list of stuff to get. It tells us what to do to collect these letters, and that way it's kind of like the hints for the stars in Mario 64. Except we can get except we're given the hints for all of them, and we can collect them at any time we want. Well, not quite any time we want. It's not that open-ended, but you'll see what we mean. So in addition to collecting all those letters, we also have the additional goals like leave for work, which apparently we've already completed, and to find the Dutchman's treasure. And also on that to-do list, if you look up in the corner, it'll tell you the percentage that you have for each area, which includes the money that you have, more on that later, the jellyfish you collected, more on that much later, and the doubloons you've collected. Again, I don't know what purpose the doubloons serve, but we'll see with due time. Options. So so that's how you save the game. I'll go ahead and show it off. So it's not an auto-saving game. So if you've been playing for a while, you want to make sure you save every now and then. And then of course here's the game settings. This game does include subtitles automatically, which is good. I'd rather have a game that forces subtitles upon you than a game that doesn't give you the option, like Ed, Edd and Eddy. But we'll get back to the game. So we'll jump down here and go over to Patrick.
Gee, Patrick, is everything okay?
Not okay, not okay. Something fell on my roof and now my TV doesn't work. I can't get up there to fix the thingy and I'm missing all my favorite shows. No!
Oh, that's too bad. I wish there was something I could do to help.
Ah, but there is. You can get up there if you try. Hold the duck button, then press the jump button to reach high places.
What are you waiting for, SpongeBob? I'm missing my shows. A real buddy would get up there and make my life complete again.
Oh, barnacles.
For some reason, you can see the split in the model of Patrick's house right there. Because apparently this is two quarter spheres combined to look like a hemisphere.
Alrighty, it looks like I found your problem. There's a big thingy on your thingy and it's all bent out of shape. But it looks too big for me to move.
You don't need to move it when you can simply break it apart. Face the container and press the action button to karate chop it.
So we'll do that, fix that, and now we get a reward from Patrick. What could it be?
Oh, my TV is fixed! You saved me from thinking, SpongeBob.
Save your gratitude, my jolly pink friend. It's all in a day's work for a sponge such as I. But, maybe you can help me with a problem that I'm having. You see, it all started this morning when Gary and I were playing fetch.
On second thought, who wants to stay at home and watch TV on a day like this? I'm going downtown to see the new construction site. Maybe you could meet me there, and we'll play Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. Last one, there's a nematode.
And so Patrick's running off, and that's an additional goal we have, find Patrick in downtown. But he left a letter for us. And so Patrick will be running off down there. Let's see what happens when he gets to the edge of the bounds. So while it'll put you in first person, that's a bit interesting. And obviously you can control it that way. Huh, so Patrick doesn't just teleport away once he reaches the edge of the boundaries. Let's do that. Collect those. And as I said, jellyfish, well, it'll mention that we have L button to sneak around, and we can demonstrate it on that jellyfish over here. But as of right now, jellyfish don't do anything to us. And SpongeBob's pants are his life. You get 5 hits. Collecting pants will restore that life. I think it'll always bring it back up to 5, no matter how much you have when you get hit. But let's show off what happens when you get down to 1. Maybe I should be better about getting hit. I suck at getting hit. Right now I do. I can guarantee you I won't suck at it later. There we go. So 2 and oh, invincibility frames. That's what. All right. Man, I'm really bad at this whole trying to be bad stuff. Okay. So when you get down to your last hit, SpongeBob will be running around in his underwear. Nice attention to detail there. I wouldn't really say this game has a hub world per se. Well, it kind of does. Bikini Bottom is kind of a hub world, but there is still stuff to do in Bikini Bottom, so... And like, it's kind of a level on its own, so I wouldn't exactly even say that it's a hub world. And so, obviously, it's still teaching us stuff. Trying to collect all these coins. One thing about this game that I didn't like was, I mentioned earlier how, whenever dialogue starts, the music will just cut off. Well, whenever you do trigger one of those, like over here...
Now that's not very scary. How does Squidward expect to protect his garden with that?
True. It is not scary when it sits still, but it's really something when it moves. Do you see that little fan nearby? You can blow on the fan with your reef blower to activate the mechanism.
So like that, how the music will just suddenly cut off, your control will be taken away from you, those black bars come on the screen, and SpongeBob or someone else starts talking. When I was a kid, for some reason, it always really, not really, but it kind of made me not nervous, but not anxious. I guess, kind of afraid of something. I don't know why, but it just always did. And that feeling still kind of lingers, though I'm man enough to face it now. I guess it's because the game was about ghosts and I was afraid of being scared. Incidentally, I had a fear of fear itself. But, the point being, that was something about this game that I didn't like as a kid. Just because it freaked me out a little bit. And that's like one of the feelings about this game that's always stuck with me. Because even though I enjoyed playing it, it would always freak me out that, I know, it sounds so ridiculous. But keep in mind, I played this game when I was like 4 or 5. Well, maybe a little bit later than that since I did get the game used. But the point is, I was still a really young kid at the time, so I was scared of a whole lot of things. Like, I was scared of tornadoes, even though the number of tornadoes that have been in Georgia has not been a whole lot. I was also scared of skeletons, specifically skeletons in my closet. Even, incidentally, that's an expression, but I didn't know that back then, and I was also scared of the dark. You know, how kids are just scared of the dumbest things. So hopefully I've grown over that phase now. But I also broke that backside, and now we can enter SpongeBob's home from either the front or the back. And we have more of those loading screens. Like I said, since I'm on the GameCube, it won't be an issue. If I was playing the PS2, I would be pissed, and I would probably also be really scared of playing this game anymore. But we've been going on a little while in this first episode. Since this game doesn't have very clearly defined levels like Ed, Ed, and Eddie, hopefully that means I'll be able to keep the videos around a time limit that I want, which is generally going to be between 20 and 30 minutes, preferably between 20 and 25. And so hopefully now I'll be able to keep the video length under control instead of feeling obligated to complete the level. And so we'll do just that. Overwrite this save. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next episode of SpongeBob SquarePants Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.